it's time for the polity again, coming to you from the Abuja studio of Kaftan Television. We do this every work day of the week, and today's edition, by the grace of God, I'm honored and privileged to be the anchor, the host this afternoon, and my name is Dayo Omogun. I hope that your day has been fine. I hope that your week up to now has been awesome. But whatever it is, I do hope that from this program onwards, it will be a lot better than has been before. So I enjoin you to be a part of this program, not just to watch, but at the appropriate time for you to also call in so we can have some the benefit of your wisdom, and so that together we can put block upon block, and you know how the scripture says, precept upon precept, word upon word, letter upon, and all that. We can build the magnificent Nigeria that we all desire. And so once again, you're welcome to the show. It's the polity, and today what are we talking about? We will be talking about, I mean, we have two segments, and the first one we'll be talking about the opportunity that was lost finally. I mean, there was so much hope last week when news came that the National Assembly or the Senate was going to look at the Electoral Amendment Act, and so many Nigerians were upbeat that for once we might just get it right, and electronic transmission of results might just be might just sail through. But alas, at the last moment, we also still lost the opportunity, because in the words of the Senate, we couldn't get it done real time because of the paucity, because of the sorry state of our infrastructure. Well, that's what they said. Whether that really cuts the ice, whether that really is sellable, whether it's acceptable by Nigerians, whether it makes sense to the entire polity, to the world, is another thing altogether. And so that's what we'll be looking at today. Did we just fling out an opportunity on the basis of some very flimsy excuse? Is this really the situation of things? Don't we have some other things that are working for us, especially in the area of fintech? So if those that can work, if we can have satellite TVs that work around Nigeria, I mean, with signals getting to some of the remotest parts of this country, I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, I hope that my guests will shed a lot more light, and that you'll be on hand also to bring in your own contribution. And so let me welcome my guest, and the person of Ben Agunloye is someone you've seen before on a number of occasions, and he brings to bear depth and history to his analysis. And it's my pleasure to say welcome, Ben.
It's my pleasure. Good afternoon.
Welcome. Now, so you heard last week there was so much buzz about the e-transmission of results that never came to be, that eventually didn't fly. Now, when you heard the final position of the Senate, was that expected, or were you jolted?
I was not jolted in any way.
You were not?
Yeah,
you saw it coming?
The practical reality is this. It's good to aspire. It's good to position. It's good to make certain arguments. But we need to also come to terms with reality. One of the differences we also should expect to see between the Senate and the House sometimes is that you expect the Senate to bring their experience to bear on what is obtainable.
Does that mean that
Now,
the House is bereft of experience?
Definitely, we can never compare the experience in the House with experience of those in the Senate, whether it is in politics or it's in practical life. They are older, they represent a larger number of people, and so if they are taking pause from their constituencies, some of them are possibly taken from as much as 11 local governments, as against maybe the House of Rep, where some have just one or two local governments to relate with. So to a large extent, by the people they represent, by the responsibilities you're looking at them having taken in the past. Because in the Senate, you're going to see retired AIG, retired general, you're going to see former governors, returning senators, former ministers, former military administrators, former MDs, and the rest of that. So to a large extent, I do not expect them to talk from the realm of vision. Right now, when you divide vision, we say vision is foresight, based on insight, backed by hindsight. Now, younger people don't have so much of the hindsight experience. So we all are looking at the future. We all have insight. But sometimes when you bring your experience or your hindsight to back it up, then you understand what you are saying practically. Now, for me, can we do real time as we are? No. Why should anybody argue for real time? 3 reasons. 1, once you put it in the act, it makes it mandatory, which means if it is not done, you can use that to nullify the election.
All right.
So ab initio, if I lose, I can decide to use that to argue for a fresh election in the areas where I have lost. Now, if by maybe statistics, there was a survey somewhere in 2022 that says 301, or up to 2023, 301 local governments out of 774 are not connected to internet. No coverage in 301 local government. Then we have the new project that talks about 774, rollout 774 connection, or that stuff. Now, throughout, by the end of 2025, that has been able to bring up 51 more local governments, meaning that there are still 250 local governments that had no connection.
Let me pause you a little bit there. If you agree that there are 250 local government areas where there is no internet, have you bothered to look at how do they do JAMB in those places? How do they conduct banking transactions in those places? How do they watch TV, satellite TV in those places? And quite a number of those kind of.
Now, I will actually get there, right?
Right.
But my point is that for those who are advocating, 1, it's if it is not done, if it is in the law, it can become a basis to seek disqualification or cancellation, so that you can then mobilize and go and see if you can get a better performance. That's 1. On the other concept, there is a second group who cannot trust themselves. And because they can't trust themselves, then they don't see why. They don't even have the capacity.
They don't trust themselves to win in a fair...
No, not just to win. On any matter of life, there are people who don't trust themselves. So the individual cannot trust himself or herself, cannot trust any other person to do what is right.
Is that not why the neutrality of the electronic system now comes into place?
Now, when you come to the electronic system, he is building trust on it, perhaps because he thinks he can manipulate it better. Not just because he has the confidence that the electronic means will do justice.
Oh.
No, there are people who can't trust themselves. So anything they cannot control, they don't want to see it. The Yoruba man says, Abeni lori, kò fẹ́ rí dà lọ́wọ́ ẹni. That's the man that cuts head. The head cutter does not want to see the sword in the hand of another man.
Yeah.
You want a situation where a system where you think you can manipulate, you can that is, if there will be manipulation, it should be you that is manipulating, not someone manipulating it against you. Now that is the second point.
Okay.
Now the third point will be some of those also pushing for it are those who think
who are pushing for the electronic transmission.
Yes, okay. Real-time transmission are those who think that they are in business, perhaps, and they want the procurement contract for supply of satellite-based equipment. So there is those economic factor there. When we bought card readers in Jonathan regime, there was no law to back it. But we spent billions of naira buying it. Was it not? Some people supplied it. We had the election. It helped in some ways. But when Rivers case got to court, what did the court say? He said, oh, this thing is not known to Nigerian law. And that was how the Wiki case died in the Supreme Court, if you remember. Yes, we have beavers now that is known to the law. But we also have people who have connections to supply these items. So if you put it in the law, it means that INEC must necessarily look for satellite-based equipment, not GSM network-based, right? Not telephone network-based equipment. They have to be satellite-based equipment because there are no network in as much as these 250 local government. Even in the FCT, there are places where the network is a disaster. There's no doubt about that. Ask people who live in some part of Kubwa, some part of Jikoi, and then they will tell you what they go through. Once some people enter their house, no call, nothing until they step out the following morning. That is in Abuja. Some part of Lagos have such, some part of Kano have such, some part of Port Harcourt have that. So if Lagos, Kano, and Abuja and Port Harcourt experience network disruption, then you can now imagine what will happen in some other places. So if you decide to say, okay, it's in the law, it must be done, then I come to say, I have this equipment, satellite-based, bring money and buy. So those who want to win the contract and do the business
will push it. Right?
They are definitely part of those who are pushing for it. Right. So you have those who think they can cheat that system better, or who think they are more comfortable with that system. You have those who want to use it to derail the process in the future after election. You have those who, so you can see it's three people. Those who want to supply equipment, their own target is before. Those who want to manipulate it, their own target is during. Those who want to use it to subvert the process, their own target is after. But these three groups are out demanding that it should be included in the law because it is good for their business.
Let me, at this point, let me just ask you. So you have identified three groups who are real-time e-transmission of results, and who you think have their ulterior
motives. Yeah.
Right. Now, but what do you think is the position? What do you think is the desire of the average Nigerian? Because I do know that these three groups that you have mentioned, if you put them together, they may not be up to 1% of the Nigerian population.
Well, they may not be up to 1%. So
let's say,
Babangida called them.
What do you think the 80%
want?
No, we're not even talking about 99, but let's bring it down to like 80% of Nigerians really want.
Well, I am sure that for those who live in those environments where there has been no network, this talk won't excite them. Let's be sincere. But this is what you also need to know. in IBB regime, there used to be that slogan that comes from him and Tony Momo, the then Minister for Information.
Yeah.
They talk about the vocal minority. So when the vocal minority picks a matter, they dominate the press. They dominate everywhere.
No.
And you think, hold on, sir, and then you think that that opinion is what every other person wants. Now, of what use is real-time transmission, real-time electronic transmission of image result? Why are we not pushing for real-time collation? Why are we not pushing for online, for electronic collation, for instance?
Now, what has been the issue between from around 2019 to 2023? What was the dominant issue? Was it not this same electronic transmission of results?
Fine. And what I'm saying is,
how come this real-time whatever clause has suddenly come into a discourse when it was never raised until now?
Like I told you.
How did we get here?
No, like I told you, electronic transmission. Okay, we do results. There is network in Katampe, we have sent. There is no network in Biaji across. So they will need to possibly come to Duse or come to Kubwa to be able to send, right? Now, if you are saying real time, they are not supposed to go anywhere. They are supposed to send it
from there.
Right from there,
and
immediately.
Yes.
So where that is not possible, it becomes a ground for the loser to contend the result of the election.
Don't you think that if you do not put real time,
yes,
if we, like the Senate is saying now, don't you think that that's also a lacuna that is being put deliberately there to be explored by some columnists who also want to, like you identified, who also want to tamper with the process?
What I expect us to have done between 2023 and now,
yes,
or between 2019 and now,
yes,
is for those representing the areas that are underserved. We have the Universal Service Provision Fund,
exactly,
USPF. So people should have advanced to ensure that this internet penetration is actually broadened. Now, when you put internet in a local government where it used not to be, the residents of the area who are younger people, for instance, can interact with the rest of the world better, and they can push their market, they can do a lot. So for me, it should be an argument or a prayer for the expansion of the system. If it would have to be the office holders partnering, whether you will call it CSR or whatever language, partnering with the telcos. Now telcos can do joint project. It's not everybody doing individual mast everywhere.
Yeah.
So let's have the mast across these 250 local governments and in some other strategic places, which will be okay. I'm a senator, I'm putting this down. The House of Rep members, maybe the 3 of them in the senatorial district, they are putting this down. The telcos are raising this, and then jointly we're putting in the mast, we're putting in the security, right, to help them. So my argument or my position is, rather than go for satellite-based equipment that will be used once in 4 years and then packed into INEC office gathering dust and possibly become unserviceable before the next election, we should be thinking of rolling out networks in more places across the nation. Now, where all the local governments are covered, you can now determine, okay, what is the maximum time to move from any part of maybe one of the local government in the state. Let's have an average for every state. Movement from the remotest part to the local government secretariat or to where you will get network. In some states, it may not be more than 30 minutes. In some states, like maybe Niger, you may be talking of 1 or 2 hours. In places like Bogu local government, because of the land mass. So when we are talking about argument of real time, if you have made services available if the Universal Service Provision Fund, I don't know when last I heard the Senate or the House of Rep talk about those guys, or even bring them to task. Show us, give us what you are doing to promote network expansion. So between the USPF, the Senate, the House of Rep, the governor, the telcos, we should solve the problem that affects the people more. Well, rather than procuring additional devices that are satellite based that will only be used for election.
Well, I think this, okay. Like I asked a question before, you said you were going to get there. I asked, how do people in these 250, formerly 301 from what you said, in local government areas, how do they get to do JAMB exams in their places? Well, and it has not become a national crisis. It has not become a national problem all this while. How do they get banking services? How do they operate their POS? How do they operate transfers of money on their phones? If there's no internet, if there's no, and how do they? A whole lot now depends on technology, on ICT, right? So how do they manage that suddenly only this part cannot be served?
Well, even in Abuja,
yes,
you go to POS and they tell you there is no service from your bank.
Okay.
Even in Abuja, we experience that.
Yes.
At least in the area where I live, several times you have sent money. The money I've left your account for 2 days, it doesn't get to where he's going. You go back to your bank to complain, and your bank is saying wait for another 24 hours. If it doesn't go through, then go back to the POS and let him lodge a complaint on his side. So a lot of time, yes, the services, the fintechs are good, they are working, but when you also have some real problem, do they have any office where you can go? The answer is possibly no. And then again, what they are doing, right? Maybe the little money that happens in such rural areas, if eventually you run them on USSD or whatever, thieves, the election is a high stake item than you talking about that. But when you come to writing JAMB, a lot of people have to travel out of their state to other states to write JAMB. Parents are facing a lot of crisis when these exams are written. Again, just like we said, until the vocal minorities are affected, you may not hear the noise, because we always have that bulk that you will call the silent majority. Either they don't have a voice, or their voice is not loud enough to be heard. But when the vocal minorities are affected, it is on the airwave, and everybody is shouting because of the people that is involved, sometimes not because of the issue. You look at, was it earlier or late December, the Anthony Joshua accident gained a national noise because it was him. And when they mentioned that the driver had not renewed his license, did anybody pick up that? For me, that was an important item. But that, of course, died within the shout for it. When Chimamanda child issue occurred, it gained a national attention because it's Chimamanda. That happens to other people every now and then across the nation, whether it is private or the public hospitals. But because they are the silent majority, we don't hear it. So election matter, the vocal minorities are concerned because it affects them. Otherwise, you should be looking at how many JAMB CBT centers do we have nationwide? Exactly. How many of them are in the rural area? Those are not records that you really can show. So there are a lot of local governments where you don't have a single...
No, that should not be a difficult record to show.
There are local governments where you don't have a single CBT centers. They just silently fill the form, go to the neighboring local government to go and write.
I'm saying that's information that should be easy to access.
No, it should be easy to access.
JAMB definitely knows.
Yeah, if people ask JAMB can give us that. But what I'm saying is that you have local governments where, even when it was physical, at least in our days of writing JAMB, there are only 2 centers in Akuku. One in Ikare, Akuku Ondo, the other one in Igara, Akuku Edo. So everybody anywhere in Akuku land, if you are not going to Ikare, you are going to Igara. If you are not even careful in filling your form, you want to pick Ikare, but because they are arranged by local government. So Akuku Edo is next to Akuku North. You would have picked Akuku Edo on top. You pick the code for Igara instead of the code for Ikare. But because they are not too far, you just go, you write your exam, you come back. But in Akuku South, there was no center. At some point when we have Akuku Northwest, there was no center. So it has to be Northeast or Akuku Edo. So to a large extent, these things have always been there. And they are still there. But because the politicians and the vocal minority care less about the impact of actions on the majority of the people, they just care, as far as I'm concerned, about power. No, and so because this affect power sharing,
yes,
you will blow it to the maximum. But to those people who live in those places, it's a normal life for them that a lot of things are not
let's take a look at this. Is it not interesting that on this particular matter, that for once it would look as if the silent majority or a larger percentage of the silent majority are in agreement with the vocal minority that you have talked about on this particular matter? Should that not be strong enough to make the argument?
I don't think that is the case. Their case would have been covered if you are saying, let's take network to where there are no network.
No, can't we have emergency situations? You talked about, you just said, for example, that election is a higher stake issue. So even if we have to invest in acquiring satellite-based technology to take care of this, is it not worth it?
It's not, in my opinion, because it's just a once in 4 years event.
Yeah, over
the next 200 days,
yes,
a lot can be done in network penetration.
I doubt
rolling out the network. A lot can be done because you are not laying so much cable.
You are putting the entire 50 local government areas. And once you still have 1 to 10 local government areas that are not covered, then we go right back to the argument that you made before, that will be a strong ground for the election to be questioned.
As of today, less than 2/3 of the local governments are covered. More than 1/3 is not covered. Which is substantial.
Yes.
Now, if we are able to reduce that to just like 10%, the margin, right, and the impact and the effect that can have on the overall election will become well reduced. But as of the moment, more than 1/3, 35% is a huge number for the number of local governments not covered. So for me, they will be speaking for the vocal minority if they are talking about. Now let me paint a story. It must sound like a joke. There are parts today of Ondo North where there has been no light for more than 3, 4, or 5 years, or thereabout. But I remember in the 2003, running to the 2003 election, in some part of Ondo North, the PDP came for campaign. And the people say, look, don't give us your money. Go and bring our transformers, have low capacity and they are blowing. You are in government. Come and install transformers for us, right? Before election, for us to believe that you are serious. Of course, the government had acquired some transformers at the time. So in some parts of Ondo North, the transformers came in, they were installed, they were functional. So election came, they didn't have issues with voting for the PDP, despite the sitting governor being from Ondo North. Right?
And not being PDP.
And not being PDP, being AD. They voted him out. Now, what you will see is the transformer, of course, the environment will continue to grow. Between 2019 and now, maybe the problems are not with those transformers, maybe they are now with the transmission line or some other things, but they've not been able, in my opinion, campaigns have been happening in those places, right? And people will claim they speak for them. But for some people in Ondo North or in Ondo South who have not seen electricity for 3 or 4 years, right? This issue we are talking about, in my opinion, is not their own real issue. Their real issue would have been what will bring that development to their doorstep. So network, so whatever we are saying, if we want real time, I'm okay. But going to buy satellite equipment to effect real time, I am against it. That money should go into partnering with the telcos to put base stations across the underserved area with appropriate security.
Let me take you up on that. Now, if something has not been done for 4 years, has not been done for 8 years, has not been done for as long as you can remember.
Yeah.
So what is the probability of getting it done in the 200 days or thereabouts that's remaining between now and the elections?
It has not been done before now, maybe for several reasons. Perhaps nobody was pushing on behalf of the people. Maybe from the survey for the telcos, they are in business. If they think installing it will not give them return on investment, they may not go into.
No, do you even think that it is possible to cover all the 250 local governments that you have identified with base stations, with internet?
In 6 months? It's possible.
How? Have you seen that?
No,
have you seen that kind of thing happen in Nigeria before?
How many did it take them to roll out in the first 6 months when they rolled out? Raising mast and the mast technology is becoming easier today. It's not as complex as it was when they started. Technology is evolving on a daily basis, and so things can get done easier and smarter. We now have more professionals than we have in those days. We also have people on the field now who possibly have worked with them and have moved on elsewhere. So if you need to do ad hoc and emergency, the biggest issue is capital and security. And that's why I said on the capital to go in, the politicians, the stakeholders, which is the senators, the House of Rep, the House of Assembly member, the governors, that's the state now, and the USPF, Universal Service Provision Fund, has always been should partner with the telcos to get the funds.
Are you suggesting that some of the senators should bring money from?
Yes. Don't they have constituency allowance? Should it always be borehole and wheelbarrow? Should it always be exercise book and school bag? No. The base station should be made a priority. This is what we need. So if the survey is on the table, those who are from those constituencies, we are not saying donate to a common cause for the nation. I possibly won't subscribe to that. But you are from Edo North, and you think there are 2 local governments in Edo North that are underserved, so you need 5 masts in Edo North. The senator representing Edo North should have something to contribute. The House of Rep representing the 2 or 3 of them from Edo North should put in something. Edo State government should put in something. The telcos should add the manpower and their own, because they will of course be the owner of the asset when it is installed. But you have the next 180 days, put those assets in place. So we are saying that by July or by August ending, a number of those things are in place. It is possible. Very, very possible. It doesn't take a month to build a base station. And in terms of human capital, you have them enormous in the Nigerian nation as of today. We are not where we are in 2001 in 2026. 25 years experience. That's what we've acquired. in setting up the base station, in doing other things. Some of them could even go on modern technology that will use solar and not diesel, in such a way that the running cost on the telcos will also become lower. Because in the current practice, you have generator running 24/7 in a lot of the base stations. So they necessarily have to go and put petrol, put diesel, input diesel. And when there are security challenges, they might not be able to get the diesel there. The generator will eventually shut down. The base station will shut down. So there has to be better, that's modern technology-based devices. And if you put that in place, it will not only be for the election, but the life of the people would have changed. The nation would have moved forward. And of course, when you get after the election, life will continue with the people. Yeah. So it shouldn't be ostentatious consumption.
But I'm saying, in the absence of that, if the Nigerian Senate believes that that is a long-drawn route, and they are not disposed to doing that, but they are more disposed to taking the satellite-driven course. Are you saying that you would prefer a situation where nothing is done once this other one is not done? Well, that is, if the base stations are not built, you would rather that no other option is explored?
Said, for me, I think that investing in satellite equipment just for the purpose of election is not a good decision for the Nigerian nation.
Does that mean that you are more comfortable with us having shams, otherwise called elections in Nigeria?
Well, we can't say shams. Now, in the last election, 2023, what was the issue? Was it actually the issue of transmission?
What was it?
The issue of network congestion?
No, what was it? Do you recall?
It was more of people, there were network congestion, there were issue of attacks on the transmission line. So even if you have satellite equipment and you cannot protect the system against the volume of attack that will come, you might still need to temporarily shut down the network, in which case there will still be an hindrance. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I think that we tend to be foreseeing. This is the kind of thing probably they call overthinking, I think. We tend to be creating in our minds situations that may never ever arise. Now, don't forget, in 2023 was it, or 2022, I remember that there was an issue in the National Assembly where the NCC was invited to come and, is it NCC or with INEC or something?
Yeah, they were drafting. The draft stated that NCC should, INEC should liaise with NCC and get approval for areas where they can do electronic transmission.
Good. What was the outcome of that?
The outcome of that was some people said INEC should regulate its own procedure. So they do not want INEC waiting for NCC or taking instruction from anybody. So INEC should work by its own discretion.
Okay, now let's bring that into play right now. So, because I want to go a different way entirely. If we do not go by the satellite-driven equipment, what options do we have right now? And we do not have the time, because I think that's the body language from government, that we do not have the time or maybe the resources to do the base station thing. Are you saying, I've asked that in another way before, are you saying that we should just fold our hands and continue to get the kind of elections that we have gotten before?
It's not about folding our hands. What were the issues in 2023? It wasn't that the beavers did not work. At some point you say you had glitches on the network. Now, if it was network glitches, we all know in this nation, ask students who register JAMB, sometimes they have to go in the middle of the night because during the day, the network is congested.
Are these glitches Nigerian made? Do you think these glitches are Nigerian made?
Because we
have this kind of air transmission in several countries, including South Africa here, where you would be able to sit in the comfort of your living room and watch how the elections are going from one level to the other without any glitch. So I'm saying, are these glitches being fabricated? Are they being
no, they are not fabricated.
I don't know how to put it, but you understand what I'm saying?
That's why we're talking about our infrastructural readiness. What is the carriage capacity? Why do our banks, even our banks, have been in a bank this year, this 2026, and from 11, we waited till 5 o'clock. The bank-wide, there was no network. You see, some of these things has to do with available infrastructure capacity in the nation. Now, at a bank, if the capacity and the facilities were enough, when maybe this one shut down, you are likely going to have a backup that you can switch to and continue. That day it was bad that even within the bank, you couldn't do withdrawal in your account that is in the bank with your own check or with your own form on the counter. It was that bad. So, to a large extent, you will see that we have infrastructural gaps. We need to fix these gaps. And we should think about fixing the gap. Because the truth is, those who are making all this campaign who wants to win election, even when they get there, will they go back to ensuring that those gaps are closed? Because we need to look at students who write exams. Some students are failing in our school today because they ask them to write test or exam online. And then the network will hold them. And then he cannot do anything for 20 minutes. And then you say the test is 25 minutes. And out of 30 questions, he has answered only 3 or 4 questions. And the system logs him or her out. But whoever is marking, mark, and that child has failed.
No, but there must be the human parts, the human that take care of such things, right?
Now, I'm saying
they cannot fail on the basis of that, because there will always be
the test result. Now, take note that sometimes the man who is conducting the test does not even know much about what happens at the background.
But at least it can take a note that Dio's system malfunctioned, and for 20 minutes Dio didn't have access.
In which case, in some cases, the school did not provide the systems. The students own their individual phones or individual devices that they are using. No, I'm just telling you the practical. That is the practical. That is how bad we are. But these schools will come out and tell you that we do this online, we do that online. But they won't tell you the casualties that are being recorded. And like I said, majority in Nigeria are silent majority. It is when that happens to a vocal minority, right? The issue will get to the press.
All right. At this point, what makes the vocal and the voiceless is, sometimes it's a matter of, has it not become imperative for the Nigerian masses to take it upon themselves to articulate their issues?
No, like I said, if you have gone to the people, that's why when you are saying, would what this vocal minority is saying not represent the interest? No. How many of them, right, talking? Just mention some places in Niger and see how much of Nigeria they know. Each time I say Niger State is more than, maybe it's about 2.5 times size the entire southeast. Some people tell me, why are you building such a big lie? No, it's not a lie. 67 or 70,000 to 29,000. It's about 2.5. So Anambra is just 4. You will get 12 Anambra State inside Niger. So somebody who cannot comprehend that, then you want him to, but he can speak because he lives in Lagos or lives in Abuja. I've been on a lot of Nigerian roads. I've been across the sea. I've been across the rivers, right? So I can tell you that our terrains are wide. A lot of things varies here, from Sokoto to Zamfara to Kebbi. In the days of Nitel, they have their green book, address book that time. Even when I was going to Jigawa for the first time, I don't know where Gumel is, but I checked the list and I saw that there is a government college, federal government college of education. And there was one Dr. Okonkwo there. I said, Kai, this one will hear English. So I called. He picked the call. I said, sir, I'm sorry. I don't know you. I saw your number in the Nitel directory that you are in Jigawa State. And I want to go to Hadejia. I knew I have to pass through Gumel. How do I move from Kano? I know how to get to Kano. And he told me where to get vehicle going to Gumel or Hadejia. That was how in those days we ran some of the journeys across the nation, right? And so you know the roads. You've passed them that time, you pass them now, you can see the difference. But there are people who have never been to Kaduna or even to Zaria, not to now talk of beyond to those environments. But they stay in Lagos and they think that whatever holds for Lagos or what holds for Abuja holds for the rest of the nation. The reality is we've not gone to the interior to do any survey, to ask the people, to ask the people in Malumfashi, to have the people in Kazaure, what do you need? To have the people in Gamboro Ngala, if satellite election is the next for them. Yes, we also know that in some part of Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, some of these base stations used to be there, but had been destroyed. And that's why I'm saying, beyond building the base station, one, you possibly need to insulate it from generator, let it be very modern, and then you have to provide security for it. By extension, when you are asked to guard a base station, that environment is secure to an extent. In those days where you have a NEPA installation guarded by the army, nobody comes to that street to rob. You are never going to hear of robbery in that environment there, because the soldiers are there. Even though the soldiers were not sent to protect the people, but the fact that they were there make it difficult for people to come. The fact that you know there are security people around, even if you carry a gun, you don't want to shoot it anyhow, because once you shoot the gun, you will attract needless, you will attract attention.
All right.
And they will call you to book.
All right, let's take this one quickly. Hello? Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Jibril.
Jibril, you're welcome. You're calling from where?
I'm calling from Gwagwala.
Oh, Gwags, Jibril, how are you today?
To bless the name of the Lord.
Okay.
I'm so interested in this case, this matter.
All right.
One thing I want to say about this electronic transmissions of election results, it so clear the evidence. There's no need of any point of argument. The one they are trying to say that it may not be easy. Even our phone we are using now, there's a place called location. You just click your phone. Where you are going, you will see it inside the phone. Why is it that we are trying to make things difficult for ourselves in Nigeria? So, by the time again, to look at it, every village you go now, we are doing what we call this thing.
Hello, Jibril. Oh, no. Hello, Jibril.
Well, network has showed him example.
Hello, Jibril. Are you still? Okay.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Continue.
I said QS is everywhere and there is network. We can take example from that. Why are they eating under the skeleton? Let them come openly and tell Nigeria, because Nigeria want to know that their vote should count. It's not like before. It is in the time before we were using sending somebody die. You travel from here to Kano. to go and inform person before. But now it's not like that again. Let us encourage our technology. If we borrow something, but let us encourage it to develop our own. Right. And our people we put there should not be a problem to us. Do what people want.
All right. Thank you so much, Jibril. Thank you so much, Jibril. Now, is there any way, Ben, is there any way by which these problems, this internet-less, if you like, local government areas, is there any way by which their lack of internet is going to affect tax collections?
Well, tax collection is not just internet-based, but we have new tax rules, and we have new things that are meant to be done. Now, don't be surprised that, of course, even when you get to that perhaps some local government will need to take their record to another local government or to a bank somewhere. To a number of banks that you see in off location use VSAT, right? So because the bank had a VSAT, the local government can actually take their record to the bank, and because they are nearest neighbor for good customer service, the bank wants to keep their accounts, they will render such services for them. So a lot of things, like I said, are currently being done. He's talking about phone service here and there.
No,
USSD is not the same as what you need for election transmission. So there are places where you possibly still have a 2G network that will serve your USSD, but definitely won't serve a lot of internet service purposes. If we talk about 4G and 5G, I still think it's more predominant in Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kano, maybe a few other places. It's not in the interiors. So, tax collection is by the state. There are tax people who are responsible for that. Some will still have to process manually on paper until they get to where they can connect to the network and do the right things. Or if there were possibly FIRS offices in some of these locations, the chances are that they would also have to install a VSAT for the purpose of running their services. But again, majority of their offices are in the state headquarters. So if you are in such local government, you just know that you need to travel to the state headquarters to have certain things done. Until you get to the state headquarters, you might not be able to have it.
All right. As we begin to bring this gradually to a close, let me remind you that the phone line is open. 08029933365, and Jibril just called from Gwagwalada. What are you saying? Use the line. Let's hear from you as I ask my guest. So are we saying that e-transmission of election for now is a pipe dream in Nigeria?
We are not saying don't transmit, but what we are saying is the word real time is not immediately reasonably achievable.
Very good. We are also saying, Nigerians are saying, that once you remove the real time, the entire, how do I put this now? Once you do not insist on real time, whatever time that interval between when the actual thing is done and when it is finally now transmitted is open to all kinds of modification, all kinds of games.
Well, the practical,
and that will then take away
the practical reality here is
wanted to achieve.
We shouldn't actually be doubting manipulation if we are interested in proper contest. Why are we saying that? Before you snap what you are sending, the picture you are sending, a copy is given to all the parties who participated.
Yeah.
And I do not think that even if the person who is going to manipulate the BVAS has the capacity to withdraw the copies from all the parties to also manipulate it for them.
No, have you thought of that the one that is snapped, because there is time to play with,
Yeah.
that a different thing altogether is snapped and
sent around to who?
Copied to whoever.
No.
We have seen cases where
now the case here
even
is
agents of contending parties also agree to some of these manipulations.
What you are saying in that case is that the party itself, now what the parties in that case, what the parties are trying to do is to make the nation pay for their inefficiency to get loyal and credible members.
No, because you are provided a lacuna. You are provided an opportunity. I mean, like the kind of thing they do.
So that means what we should...
technicalities they bring up all the time. You are provided a space.
What we are saying is this. What we are saying is
we want to take advantage of it.
You are not providing your agent that you can trust, right? But you want the nation to invest in satellite equipment to cover up for your own...
Is there something wrong with that?
Oh, a lot is wrong with that. You are contesting election. It is your responsibility to have your agents on ground. And when a copy of the result...
If the nation says, we don't even care about your own feelings, we want to make the system foolproof, what's wrong with that?
If you don't care about the failings of the individual,
yes,
then how do you make the system
I'm saying, if we make the system foolproof consistently, then people who want to do those kind of things will get frustrated and gradually begin to drop from the scene. Don't you think so?
I don't think so. And that's why I'm saying, just as people can manipulate, even when you say it's real time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have sent and it's not delivered. Is it every time you send WhatsApp message that it got delivered immediately? Sometimes it is not delivered.
We're going to have to leave at this point.
And when it is not delivered, you can call it back to do adjustment.
There are several issues coming up from this, and I'm sure this is not the last time we're going to be talking about this same matter. It might not be me, it might be some other anchor and some other guest, but I think that this matter is still very hot and still very important to the destiny of Nigeria. And we need to keep talking, we need to keep proffering solutions, we need to keep looking at it from different angles. I'm sure that this particular episode has, with Ben Agunloye, has brought out, I mean, a whole lot of light, shed a whole lot of light on even certain areas that many Nigerians would probably not have taken a look at. So at this point, I just want to say thank you for staying tuned to Captain TV. As we go into the second segment, I want to say, please don't go nowhere. Just as we go on break now, get water, get your drink, have a sip, and get right back, and let's do the remaining part together. I'll be right back after the break. Thank you, Ben, for coming, and thank you for your
pleasure.
Articulate analysis all the time. Thank you very much. We'll be right back. All right, my dear viewers, you're welcome back to the concluding segment of the Polity today, and I'm glad that you're there, and we do this together all the time. We just had a fantastic segment earlier, and as we go into this second segment, I'll introduce my guest immediately to you. He's a US-based Nigerian, very passionate about this country. Maybe some other people in his shoes would just have said, well, I'm comfortable, I'm fine, I'm doing well for myself, why should I bother about Nigeria? But this is one person who is regularly weighing in on national issues, trying to proffer solutions, trying to bring wisdom that he has garnered over the years. I mean, even building businesses back home just to ensure that the country moves forward. And I'm talking about a medical practitioner who has a huge medical practice right there in California, and his name is Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze. Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze also is a politician. He has participated in politics briefly, trying to take up the #1 citizen seat of this country, even though it didn't go past the primaries of the party. But that's to show to you the level of his passion, the level of how much he wants to change things. And let me welcome Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze. You're welcome, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's good to see you once again. Yeah, and it's good to have you on the show. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being this passionate, this driven to be a part of national development back home, even though you could just have stayed back and just enjoy yourself. So I want to say thank you for being who you are. And I want to use this opportunity to say the same thing to several other Nigerians who share this kind of spirit. Welcome once again, Doctor.
Thank you.
How's California today?
Oh, California is good as usual, but I wish I'm in Nigeria. I enjoy Nigeria. In December, it was fantastic in Nigeria. So, but we come here to work. But Nigeria is where I enjoy my money.
All right. So, you probably have been following events back home, and you realize that the security situation has become like an ogbanje. Sometimes it looks as if it has gone down a little, and then before you are able to really heave a sigh of relief, it spikes again. And so you have a situation where whereas it looked as if some people who were captured somewhere in Niger State recently were released, and we had such two of such quick releases in different parts, it suddenly was followed up again by abductions in Kaduna State. One was from 3 churches on the same day, and there has been another one again that broke about a few days or a week ago. And you also have the carnage, if you like, that happened in Kwara. And so it's getting more and more worrisome. So maybe before we go into it, let me use this opportunity to express solidarity and condolences to those who lost their loved ones, and to those who are hurting, who are injured or wounded in one way or the other, or who are traumatized. I do hope that you are able to pull through very shortly, and I do hope that those who are in detention, illegal detention by bandits, by kidnappers, I do hope that one way or the other succor will find you, or you'll get released very shortly. Now, Doctor, as we speak about this insecurity situation, recently, a few days ago, we got information that American troops, as part of the ongoing discussions between America and Nigeria towards resolving the security challenge, that American troops had landed in Nigeria. Now, so the question on many lips is, are we at the point where we can heave a sigh of relief? Are we at the point where we can begin to probably mutter Uhuru? Are we at the point where finally we can say we have a finger on the solution? Is this our eureka moment? Or, like some people have also expressed fears, are we about to get into a long, dark night?
In opening, I would say that I want a Nigeria where the various ethnic groups feel like they have stake in the future of the country. I envision a Nigeria where leadership is based on merit, hard work, fairness, and accountability as a measure of national character. I envision Nigeria where ethnic diversity is seen as a strength and asset to be harnessed and celebrated. We want a country where fairness, equity, and justice is the guiding principle for all people. So it's very sad to say that most people in this world, every country, just if one person is missing in America, in the bush, they will send out 10 helicopters, 200 soldiers and police going in the bush, 100 miles, combing it for just one person. And here you have another country in the world where bandits are sponsored, terrorizing innocent people who are just looking for food to eat, who are just trying to farm. They are not causing trouble. And it's being sponsored by certain people. And these people that are sponsoring it are known. And we keep quiet. You're just talking about the consequences of what they're doing. Those people who are sponsoring it are known. They need to be identified. They need to be arrested and taken to the world court for justice to be made. It's not okay to hear in Benue or so that 200 people are killed overnight. The pastor is killed. It's not okay. It doesn't happen anywhere else. So that's why the world needs to intervene, not just America. The African Union needs to intervene. West African Union needs to intervene. The European Union needs to intervene. They need to save us from ourselves because it's our own people that are killing ourselves. A lot of them, these have religious inkling. You see, most of those people are killed in the churches and slaughtered in the churches. Their land taken, massacred. So somebody's doing it. It's Muslim religion. Their leaders, some of the leaders are sponsoring it. Those people need to be identified and arrested and tried before the world. And that's what has to happen. There's no two ways about it. I don't have to hide my mind. We want a country where the Christians love the Muslims and the Muslims love the Christians. We want a country where, regardless of religion, you see them as your brothers. If the Muslims are doing things, we Christians can go. And if the Christians are doing things, we want Muslims to come. All the different groups in Nigeria have assets. They have skills. There's something to offer to the country. That's why I'm for one Nigeria, but not coming to kill innocent women, rape them, take their land, change the name of the town. I heard it's happening in Plateau State. That's an abomination. We all have to come together and stop that and see whether we can make Nigeria one. The rest of the world is progressing in AI, artificial intelligence, but we are specializing in murdering people based on their religion. Remember that the Christian religion, Christian God is God of Abraham. Muslim God is God of Abraham. The Jewish God is God of Abraham. An African God is God of Abraham. That's why we say Chukwu Abiyama. When you hear Igbo people praying, we call it now, they say Chukwu Abiyama. Abiyama means Abraham. So why are we killing each other when we have the same God? Those people who are preaching this hatred and evil stuff, trying to take somebody's land, they are not worshiping any God, they are worshiping Satan. So we have to come together, like I've always said. You have to, security start from yourself. You don't go.
Okay, so we have to come together to fight this. Now, in coming together, clearly, even if it was just, it sounded like very far away before. It's no longer so with the arrival of troops from America. It's real now that there's some joint work being done by Nigeria and America towards bringing an end to this insurgency, banditry, and all the criminality that we see around us. Now, do you think that with the arrival of these troops, that finally we will be able to tackle this in very short order?
It is a step in the right direction.
Okay.
You remember when ISIS was ravaging, invading Iraq and running over Syria? America had to intervene to stop them. Without that, they were killing and raping and destroying people's history and culture. Same thing. Since we are not able to control ourselves, since all the preaching we are preaching, people are not listening. Every day they're still going and attacking villages, killing women and children, taking the town, changing the name of the town. And I think they have something they call where they put in the displaced people. It's a lot of it is in the north. They have displaced people where they live like refugees in Nigeria. All of that must be stopped. All those towns taken must revert to the original owners, and all those people who are involved in the criminality have to be caught and tried, regardless of who I'm talking about. King, chief, emir, sariki, sultan, anybody involved have to be arrested and tried in a world court. And we're serious about that. So America coming is a good thing. We cannot let this to continue anymore.
Okay, so your point is that until sponsors and sympathizers and enthusiasts are dealt with, the problem may continue to devise solutions.
Yes, don't you see in Europe when Hitler was trying to eliminate all the Jews, the whole world intervened. The whole world, America, 2 million troops, all the European countries, Russia, everybody, they even have troops from Africa to join them in the fight to stop Hitler. Without that, he would have finished the Jews, then he would have finished all Africans then, because he doesn't like people who have dark skin. He would have finished, if it wasn't for that intervention, he would have finished Jews in Europe, and he would have come to Africa and probably cook you like pepper soup.
All right, all right. Now, but so we thank God that he didn't have the opportunity to cook us like pepper soup. Now, but there are fears. There are people who still have this feeling that beyond what's on the surface, beyond the talk about tackling insecurity, that there's a possibility that there's more than just tackling security from the point of view of the American authorities, that they may be interested in some other things. Do you share this feeling?
I mean, everybody have their own national interest. In addition to security, they're against the security. This Islamic threat all over the world. They're against that. They will fight that. But every country have their own interests. China have their own interests. China is interested in dominating all African market. They're everywhere. They're in all the towns. They're not afraid of moving around and controlling our economy. Yeah, they are. Chinese are controlling African economy. America will also want to be able to control the economy. Don't you know all the mines and gold and diamonds and iron, all the material that they use to build computers all come from Africa? Don't you know the raw materials for tire all come from Africa? What you use to build batteries, they all come from Africa. It's under your leg. And we're acting like mumu. So other people with sense are coming to take it, to go build. What it takes to build cars, aluminum and iron, they get it from Nigeria.
Wow.
What it takes to build batteries, lithium, is in Nigeria. What to build tires, rubber, petroleum byproducts, all in Nigeria. That's why I say we need to do skill acquisition. We need to train our people to start building all these industries. If we need to establish ourselves in this world, if you are not producing anything, your money will have no value. Like your money doesn't have value now. If you're not producing and selling to other world, your money don't have value. People who are selling to you, you're helping their money to be strong. You that are just consuming, you chopping, your money have no value. You have to make tires, you have to make batteries, you have to make refrigerators, you have to make cars. We're able to. We're making us in cars in Navy that we can use that to dominate the whole of Africa, at least selling Nigerian-made cars. Unless you start making things and shipping them out, you're not going anywhere.
So there's no doubt that beyond tackling security, the economic interest of the U.S. is also probably tied to this, even if it's not made a top agenda thing straight away. Yeah, so that's what you have said. And in so long as the other country's interest does not frustrate our own national interest, I don't think that that's a bad idea. After all, we live in a global village right now. Also, as we begin to round this up, you are saying what we need to do now is probably give every cooperation that we can to the troops that have come, so that very shortly that we can put all of this behind us. But you are very positive that we can indeed put this behind us in a short while with these people.
Absolutely, Nigerian future is bright if we have the right people in charge. Then we have all the resources. God gave us more resources than He gave any other people in the world. We have diamond, gold, bauxite, oil, gas. We have everything. You have food, you have rice, beans, yam, all of that. You have good land, but the government is busy importing food from outside instead of encouraging farmers to farm it. We have good land. We have the government needs to help them with fertilizers, with mechanized equipment, so we can produce food. We can manufacture things in Nigeria. More important is security starts from yourself. In America, every house, if you break into somebody's house, you'll be dead. The wife have a gun, the man have a gun. And then, before the police comes. And then, every village needs to be trained and equipped to defend themselves. People should not be waiting for police to come from Abuja and DSS. By the time they come, all of your town, everybody's dead.
All right,
so
all right.
you need
just before I lose sight of this, will you, by any chance, suggest that Nigerians should also carry guns, like you talked about the American citizens?
Yes, for protection. For self-protection, not for attacking people, but to defend yourself. So if somebody comes to your house, they will lay your children down, they will shoot them, and you will just be saying, oh, please, oh, God, oh, you say, God, oh, Lua. No, you have to defend yourself. So in America, we're allowed to carry guns to protect ourselves, not to attack other people. So you need that. And then you need the towns, need vigilantes, well-armed vigilantes. You need the state, the local government. They all need to be well-armed, prepared, mobilized, have people. Where I come from, we have all of that. All the things I'm telling you, we don't have that kind of threat. I told you I enjoyed my holidays. We stay till 4 o'clock in the morning. We're not afraid of anybody because we're well equipped.
Fantastic.
We're well equipped. We don't have any problem. That's why I told you I'm happy. I enjoy Nigeria more than I enjoy America. I only come to America so I can get money. But I like where dropping the money is best in Nigeria.
Okay, that's a good one for Nigeria. That's somebody who's lived most of his adult life abroad, America, and still has very fantastic words about his home country, Nigeria. We need to begin to draw the curtains right now, and I must say, as usual, it's been a fantastic time having you on the show. Thank you so very much. As we begin to round this up, let me try to reiterate some of the points you've made. Number one, I really take very seriously the fact that you think that Nigerians should be allowed to carry arms responsibly to defend themselves. Yeah, you said that. And you said that you believe that with the American cooperation, we can put all of these criminalities behind us very soon. You also said that it's a very good development that American troops have landed. Very fantastic. And you have said that you enjoy Nigeria tremendously. When you came in December for Christmas, you enjoyed the country. That's, I mean, remarkably very positive. And I think that that should go on marble, a lot of all that. Thank you so very much, Dr. Anakwenze. Enjoy the rest of the day, and greet California for us. And when you do come home for Easter or Christmas, please bring a piece of California with you for us.
Yeah, no problem. When I come, you need to leave amala and inyo for me.
Okay. All right. So it's good to be bye for now. Doctor, thank you. Viewers, thank you very much. Production team, thank you. Big, big up. It will be another episode tomorrow, Wednesday, with someone else. Please do stay tuned to Captain TV. And in the evening, do join me for Matters Arising as we take another fantastic ride. Thank you. It's bye from me, Dayo Omogo.